So first one for me was, I know because you're quite big into your technology. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Very much so. I'm sitting in my home studio.
That's your home one. Nice.
Foresight and cameras and live feeds. I love the technology. I think it's fun.
No, cool. So I'm big into TrackMan. My question really was for the average golfer.
Yeah.
What's the biggest piece of tech that's made the biggest change to improve in their game? I know it varies player to player with the individuals, but
I'd have to say, in your world, it would be the combine. Like,
okay.
how effective is the combine to evaluate a golfer who feels as though that their swing is good? So, the golfer that goes to the range, say, and it's 10 balls, 2 are terrific, 8 aren't very good, but they seem not to remember the 8. It's like, oh, well, I hit my 8 iron, 160. Some of them went 130. But so the combine gives people a real world result on, hey, if you hit this many shots to this target, this is where they end up, because, that information is powerful. And, when you start to really look at some of the data as a golfer gets longer up in their clubs, they start to not hit the ball long. And, when I was investigating Arcos with gameplay on the golf course, I started to recognize that most of my players, once they got up to about 155, maybe 150 yards, they never hit it long. They hit it good, 20 feet short of the hole, maybe left, right, whatever, never long. So I think that how a golfer interprets how far their shot goes, the combine helps them with that. Hey, by the way, you have the ability to hit that, intended 150-yard shot. You have the ability to hit it 141 all the way up to 149. That's kind of the window, and that's what the combine can show. And I think, the stat tracking strategy guys like Eric and Dave, like, they've got that nailed down.
Yeah, great. And you use the Capto system quite a lot. Is that right for your putting?
Yes, I love Capto. I've had all the other devices as well. And when I met the people from Capto, and the device was so small, and I could take it on the golf course to see what people did, I thought that was really cool. So I've invested a lot of my time in trying to figure out what all the data means, because there's a lot of information in there, not only that we haven't heard from in the golf industry, but now we have to understand, well, what does a swing plane mean in putting? Like, how do we work with that? How do we work with speeds and accelerations? So it's, measuring different things has been eye-opening for me. It's just an education tool.
What's your best advice for players in terms of how they can learn and even train from home? I know you've got your nice studio with all your kit, but those that haven't got it, maybe they've got a net in the garden. What could they be working on?
I think the first thing is to have the net somewhere, be able to hang it somewhere, like even just an old bed sheet or a blanket, something that can just hold onto the golf ball. I mean, I think we've seen like towels over chairs, it works. But anything that you can do to strike the golf ball and work on your move. And I've got juniors at home that do it in their basements here, and they can't quite make a full swing. So they work on things that are a little shorter, maybe a little more aggressive, maybe a little more technical based, and be able to, let's call the winter season, indoor season, let's call it a 4-month program, where the first month might be developing a whole lot of awareness on your mechanics that need to change. And this is the one where it's going to be hard on the field, because if it felt right, you'd already be doing it. And then it's going to be longer on the learning process to go from, okay, I'm going to accept what it feels like. All right, the camera shows me that it looks good, and this is what I do when I do it. So you kind of get that mechanics, a little more speed, find some tempo to it, where toward the end of that 4-month season, I would start looking at ball flights. So, let's hit that 7-iron, see how far it goes when you try to hit it high and hit it low. Let's find out your ball flight windows, right? So doing those TrackMan combines, or I build a bunch of the Foresight skills competitions with my PC quad, and I'm able to really, I hate the words dial in, because this is a window, right? It's a window for each club that goes a certain distance. And then if you really want to take it to another level, you start to get people to develop 2 different swings with each club. You got your full, but then how about like a half-to-half swing, or a 3/4 to 3/4 swing? Something that's not full on the backswing, something that's not full on the follow-through, and write those numbers down. And all of a sudden, you've got a chart of windows and numbers and results of your fields. And I think that working on that type of development or that type of periodization where, you work on your mechanics and your technique first, you blend it into some speed, into some tempo, so it starts to develop a little bit more of a feel and a relaxed comfort to it. And from there, you start to utilize it to develop skill. And then as soon as the golf courses and ranges open in early April, perhaps, you're excited to go up there and say, wow, I wonder what these shots really look like. Because I really like that half to half 6-iron. I feel like it's a something, and you go and watch it. So those types of mechanics, the skill to translate this, being able to use those numbers to create a strategy on the golf course. To me, that's developing. That's a true development of a golfer. And, that might take 5 months, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But once you see that start to develop, it's almost time to, okay, let's reset, see where you are, see where the things we need to kind of tackle. So winter by winter, I work with the same players mostly year after year for years on the end, especially the juniors, and being able to see the translate, okay, we're going to work on this winter, translate into some things, see how it plays on the golf course. Oh, you're not very good in this range. Bring that into the winter, work on that. And just seeing how it flows is, it's awesome. Just right now, most of the players are into that. Hey, my 7-iron is going 135. Like, I lost 45 yards on my shot, because you're in the middle of trying to develop something new and speed's not a priority.